What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Black Belt Business Podcast. I'm your host, Eliot Marshall, and it is my goal with each episode of this podcast to share the stories, strategies, tactics, tools, and resources that will help you establish or grow your martial arts school. The Black Belt Business Podcast is brought to you by Easton.Online. You can find all of our digital courses, martial arts curriculums, and resources designed to help you enhance your business at Easton.Online. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. What up, guys? Back for another episode of the Easton.Online Black Belt Business Podcast. What up, Ian? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, man. We're going to continue this, like we said, this 3-part series of onboarding. And again, if this is your first episode that you're ever listening to, if you didn't listen to the last episode, this one will be plenty helpful. But go listen to that first episode, the last episode we just did. And again, the reason that we're talking about this, and I think you hit the nail on the head in that first episode, Ian, is it costs $100 just about to get someone to walk in your door. And if it costs you $100 and 5 people walk in the door and very few of them sign up or quit within the first month, you don't recoup that money, right? So you're massively in the hole here, you know? And we know that most people quit within the first 90 days of training, right? Most people are out, whether you're doing jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai, within the first 90 days. And I think there's another thing that you said really well, is it's because you create too much friction. Right? Too much friction, whether it be in following up with them, whether it be in the appointment setting, whether it be not having an intro class, or whether it be making your fundamentals program, which is what we're going to talk a lot about in the next episode, just way too fucking hard, right? That they don't feel like they can do this. So, and all of that we're going to call is friction. So I think it's those two themes we're trying to avoid. Not getting them in, because that's going to cost money. And then once you do get them in, fucking butchering what happens.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do this, right?
Yep.
And where we start the butchering is from the moment they step in the school. And from my experience working with Easton.Online people, and you tell me how you feel about this, it's not being ready for them to come in. No, like they're coming in at 4 or 5 or whenever they're coming in, and you almost like act surprised that they walked in the door for their appointment.
Yeah. No, this kind of goes back to the appointment setting. I mean, right. So something that we do is when we have our appointments, we confirm the appointments, right? That's a really, it's by the way, a very important step.
Very important step.
Yeah. You have to confirm, you can't just make an appointment and then not remind anyone. And, and even if they have every intention of coming, it really feels good to get that reminder, like that personalized reminder, like, hey, we're excited to see you. Yeah. It makes them realize that you're thinking about them, which you should be. But yeah, you have to have a team that's ready and that's there. And this is a huge part of the day, is we have something you could also do is have like a tactical, depending on the size of your school, you can have a daily tactical meeting. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you just go over what's going on that day. It's like a restaurant, and like, hey, we have this many people coming in. Let's be ready. Who are they?
High-end restaurants do this.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
they know how many reservations they have. All that.
All that stuff matters. Who's assigned to them? It's all really important because, you get one shot, and this is cliche, but it's cliches are often true. It's like you get one shot to make a first impression, so you better make it right.
Yeah.
So when people walk in, really you want to be trying to roll out the red carpet for everybody. When we talk about friction, something that I think about, especially with what we're doing there, and this is the point of it, there is friction. Friction makes you tougher, right? You need friction, but the friction needs to come through the process of the awesome martial arts that we're teaching, the growth that comes from that. What we can't do is have added friction in the processes. Like if people have friction in getting enrolled, and then friction in, and there's, because again, the thing itself is hard. We can't make all the other stuff hard. Mike said something once that I liked. It's like, we want to have, the mat is hard. Everything else should be super easy. And I think that's a good rule of thumb. And
So be ready for them to come in.
Yeah.
No, they're coming in. All right. You said roll out the red carpet.
Yeah.
What does the red carpet look like from the day Mike walks in? The day Mike, Steve, Dave, Sandra, whoever walks in the door. What does red carpet look like?
Well, there's a few things. The first thing, and again, some of this stuff sounds easy, but it's not, because you have to train it, and you have to have a team who really cares about this.
Mm-hmm.
But whoever's behind the front desk should stand up, right, and not stay seated, right. And now again, this is one of those.
It sounds so silly.
Yeah, but this is like one of those things that is so easy to do. And if we don't train this enough at Easton and we don't continue to harp on this, this will happen, right? But you have to, you stand up, look at them, shake their hand, say, hey, you must be Eliot. It's great to meet you, right? Say their name, then say your name, or whoever is at the front,
right.
Say, introduce themselves. So have a proper introduction.
It's so crazy because it's just supposed to be what's happened. Like, I get mad at my kids.
Yeah.
When, like, if we have guests over, and I don't care if it's guests that are over all the time, men, they stand up, they shake your hand, they say hello. When you're leaving, they stand. Like, this is like really, really basic shit that we all just miss on.
Yeah. Zooming out a little bit, like, because there's all these things we're talking about, but what are we really trying to achieve? We're trying to make people feel like they can belong here.
Yeah.
And you have to, this is engineered. All of this is engineered. I think it's not luck. If you just rely on luck and you just rely on, this all happening organically, well, you are going to lose a lot of people who otherwise would have stayed. You have to engineer this. And that means, again, having a staff that's personable, right? And this isn't, like, from a hiring standpoint, you got to put the right people in the right place. If you have someone who's like super introverted, and I'm not saying someone who's introverted can't get over that and become your best person, they can, but there are people who have no interest in ever getting over that. If you have someone who's super introverted, they're not friendly, right? They might not be the right person to be in that space.
You're an introvert.
I am.
But you're doing a great job talking. So you've been able to get over that. You've learned that. If all you wanted to do was be a recluse and sit in your fucking house and play Dungeons and Dragons, but somehow need a job, that's not the job for you.
I still do love playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I know, that's why I said it. You do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not, I'm trying to make, I guess the point I'm trying to make is what you just said. You've learned to be like, look, I can be introverted and do this other thing really well too.
Yeah. It's funny. And I know you're joking.
Yeah.
I think, a way to think about it, like with people who are introverted versus people who are extroverted, think of like a battery. This is how I think about it. I am introverted. And so being around other people in large crowds, it drains my battery. Where there are some people where it's the opposite. Being around large crowds actually charges their battery. That says nothing about how personable someone is. You can be an extrovert and be a complete asshole. There's
a lot of them.
Right. Or you can be an introvert and, and be very sociable and likable and all the rest, and amicable and gracious. But you need to have someone who wants to be amicable, like someone who is willing to step out of it. You can't be socially awkward. And if you are socially awkward, you have to get over it. Right. And I think we have to be honest, like in the industry that we're in, right, there's a lot of that. Right. There's a lot of that, but we have to train them to be
better.
And we can't settle, right?
What are some of the particulars that happen and must happen in that red carpet experience before they go take the intro class?
Yeah, well,
we talked about the super why. Is this where the super why comes in?
Yeah, it can. The super why, and this is ultimately, like, there's the why, and the way to get to the super why is just asking some more questions, right? So, like, a very common, I'll use myself as an example. I talk about Finney a lot, right? He's one of our, you can talk about Finney if you want to introduce.
Yeah, he's one of our black belts, but go ahead. He did your intro, right?
He did my intro. And like this dude, here we are 20 years later, and he's still, all you guys have a special place in my heart, but like, man, Finney, he was the first guy I met, and he was super gracious and kind. But he really dug into why I was there, right? This is what you need to do. He was like, oh yeah, why are you here? And I was like, oh, I gave a very generic answer. It was true, but it was generic. And I said something like, well, I played hockey for a while. I don't have anything to do anymore. I just want to, stay in shape, and just thought I'd try this. You're going to get that a lot. That's not a super why. That's a why. The super why is, well, okay, cool. Well, you could have done so many other things. And this is what he asked me. He's like, well, you could have gone to 24-hour fitness. It's down the street, right? There's a lot of other ways. You could have started playing hockey again. Why this? Well, because I've never really felt secure in myself, right? I've never felt like I've always been kind of tall and skinny, had red hair, got bullied a lot. And I didn't want that, I'm in my early 20s. I don't want to feel this way anymore.
I'm over it.
Well, and then he said to me, cool, well, we can help you with all of that. And that was kind of it, right? I didn't need to see anything else. I didn't need to hear anything else. Like I told him what my insecurity was, why I was here. And he very confidently told me that he has the answer, right? And that they've helped a lot of people with all of that. I think he made a joke about him being short, if I remember correctly.
Right.
But
I'll leave that alone. Vinny and I have a long history of talking shit to each other.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I don't even think Vinny would remember this conversation because he had so many. But this is another way to look at it. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've had this conversation with probably hundreds of, maybe thousands of people.
Sure.
He's had this conversation with that many people or more. He does not. I guarantee he does not remember this conversation with me. I remember it clear as day, as though it were yesterday. And this is how we have to view these interactions.
You have to realize that.
Yeah,
you have to realize that you literally might change someone's life today.
Yeah, you should go into every conversation with that hope, So finding the super why is important because you're going to get a bunch of generic whys. And if you connect with the generic why, yeah, that's cool. Like if he had been like, oh yeah, great. We have a lot of people who played other sports and are here now. And that's great. Well, cool. That's not getting to the...
It's one layer off the onion. It's one more layer back peeled off the onion.
And you should try to do that. And maybe I give another generic answer and I'm closed off. Well, you know what? That's okay.
Right.
But more often than not, you're going to expose the root of the reason that they're there. So, but more, I think laying the red carpet. It's also just setting their expectations. Right. You want to be really train your staff to set expectations well.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Define success for what a first day looks like. Right. And that just looks like just walking out of here or you've already done it. You've already succeeded. You walked in, but it's like just letting them know because we want people to feel like they belong, right? Because they're scared. They have to feel like they belong. Then the other piece is they have to feel like they can do this.
That's the next piece we're about to talk about.
You have to be encouraging. You're capable. You got this,
And this comes down to your intro class.
Yeah, the intro class.
The intro class is just huge. And if you don't have an intro class, you need to do an intro class. Like there needs to be an intro class for jiu-jitsu. Has to. Like this is a must for us. Would you not? Like if you're talking about it, is this a negotiable?
No, it's absolutely 100% a necessity.
Okay.
And then you have to make sure it's good.
That's the next piece. What does the intro class look like? Let's talk about what it doesn't need to look like. You don't need to armbar them. You don't need to choke them. You don't need to train with them. You don't need to beat them up. You don't need to show them how to pass the guard. You don't need to show them how to maintain the mount, take the back, do the buck and roll. None of that. Do you actually have to show them? Correct?
No, you want to frame, a lot of this is framing, right? And again, so what you want to show them, just to cut to it, you want to show them the stuff if you're going to do this in your warm-up. You want to make them feel successful. What you're trying to do is prime them to feel successful and frame the fact that if there's something in class they can't do, that's totally normal. Set that up.
I think our expectation, right, is our intro class is basically the warm-up of the fundamentals class. Right. And we just do that on a personal level, right? We do that on a one-on-one or a one-on-two level, very small group. Mm-hmm. Because we have found that if you can calm them down and make them successful in that first 5 to 10 minutes of class, everything else that happens in class kind of really doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right? Unless they have an awful experience, which we'll talk about that, in a second. But yeah, they can't have a partner that beats them up or anything like that. We'll get there. Okay. But they calm down when they learn what they're going to do privately in the first 5 minutes that they're going to have to do in the group in front of people.
Yes.
And that's the big thing of the intro class. So, and this kind of touches on your fundamentals class a little bit, you have to have a standardized warm-up that happens in every single fundamentals class. Whether I'm teaching it, you're teaching it, Phipps is teaching it, or the blue belt that's probably teaching it right now at one of the schools is teaching that fundamentals class. It's standardized. It's non-negotiable. It does not switch ever unless we switch it as a whole.
Yeah, and it's like I wanted to talk about this in our next episode, which is like what sort of the next 90 days, 100 days looks like.
But we're going first day in this one. So we're going day 2 in the next one. So intro and first day fundamentals is pretty big.
But but what you're saying, like just to touch on I want to like reemphasize the importance of it. It is like critical that all the intro classes, are taught in a similar way, or really you want a curriculum where they're all taught almost exactly the same way.
Right.
Now, one mistake I made, right, and this is just important, is you can look at the intro class like, oh, a lot of times schools will have a comped instructor doing the intro class, which is fine, but we can look at it like, oh, this is a filler role, right? This cannot be. Like this is, it's very easy to put all of your focus on the sale itself, the words that are being spoken in the, whatever, after all this is done. And then we put all the emphasis, did they sign up? Did they not sign up? And we put it at the end of the funnel. All the, what made it or broke it was the person doing the sale. Wrong. If the intro class sucks, well, and that person is, again, the person teaching it is not very sociable, or they're awkward or whatever. I'm not trying to get down on awkward people. I'm awkward, but you have to be able to make people feel comfortable here. And so you need to have, so that I made the mistake of putting people in that position who should never have been there.
Yeah.
And people didn't sign up. And then I'll never forget, I remember Lev.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lev. And Lev is like your kind of like perfect example of this. He's a good looking dude. He's super personable, really friendly. Everyone loves him.
He can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah, this guy, and he was super eager to do it, and man, like I put him in one of his intros, and I looked at one day, and his intro, out of like, I don't know, 60 people, it was like 58 signed up or something absurd, and it was because he made every single person feel amazing. And then, and this is something I really would like to stress, if you can have the person teaching the intro then take class with the student, even better. Now, every now and then you're going to have one person teaching multiple intros.
Right.
Right. It happens, right? So here's the other important thing just to touch on that has to happen. This is part of the red carpet treatment. It goes, like you said, Eliot, it's beyond the person when they walk in the front door being treated like we knew they were coming. Every single interaction, we need to feel that way. So we bring them up to the intro instructor.
There's a handoff.
Yeah, they meet the front desk.
Right.
The front desk, hey, you must be Eliot. It's great to have you. We're super excited. Then I hand you off to Phipps. Phipps is the one teaching the intro. He's like, Eliot, what's up? Right? I'm so stoked to see you.
Yeah.
And then we go up to the instructor. We walk up, and the instructor walks over to us and is like, you must be Eliot. Right. There's this introduction. Everyone is introducing
Everyone
themselves.
in the school knows Eliot's here. Like, you're like, holy shit, Eliot's here?
Yeah.
How they all know yeah.
And all of this stuff just can sound so like, it
just makes a difference.
It's the difference, right? And you go to another school where none of this happens, I guarantee you they're going to be enrolling with you, right? Because of the way you made them feel, and that's what people remember. Right. Again, people don't know, like, you could walk into, who's the most famous person? Gordon. If I walk into King Soopers right now and I ask random people who Gordon Ryan is, no one's going to have any idea. Right. No one cares. Right. And that's, I think, a really important thing to keep in mind. So when people walk into our academy, like, they're looking to see how they're treated, even if they don't know it.
Look, I was down at Kingsway a couple months ago, and Gordon even realizes this. Like, he and I were talking about this, where, he was asking me some questions about the school, about, running the school. And he's like, look, the jiu-jitsu community knows everything about me.
Right.
He goes, but the people that we're trying to get to sign up know nothing about me. They have no clue who I am and don't care.
Which is so funny because, and that's the thing. Like, Gordon he's one of the biggest stars jiu-jitsu's ever had.
He is the biggest star jiu-jitsu's ever had.
Yeah. And, when you're trying to, cater to the general audience, the general public, it just doesn't, that's not what does it.
They could care less.
Yeah, so you have to have all this stuff in place.
All right, so intro class is done. It's the warm-up of the fundamentals class. Man, look, if you have time, of course you're going to show them what tapping is and all that, Let's talk about the actual fundamentals class now, the first day class. Okay? Yeah. First of all, how do we partner people up?
I love that this was something I was like jonesing to talk about because it's the next piece of this, right? The whole thing about this being engineered. Yeah. Right. We do a mentor partner system, meaning that you're going to line them up in terms of rank and responsibility, right? That's what we say. And then you're going to have the most experienced belt peel all the way down to the least experienced. Now, if you for instructors, like, you have to pay attention to this, right? Just because you have the most experience doesn't always mean they're going to be the best experience for somebody, right? So you have to have your instructors paying attention. And if you might want to, there's size differences and stuff that you might have to
look. Let's just be clear. If I'm the most experienced in class, I'm not the one teaching the class, but let's say I'm a brown belt at the time, and somebody like Anna, who is a 17-year-old, 125-pound female, if the peel off looks like that, you switch that up.
Yeah, you got to be paying attention.
You got to be paying attention.
But in general, like, that's what you want. And the reason for this is you want your, again, this is all to set people up and make them feel like they can do it.
Yeah.
So you have people who are experienced or more experienced coaching. It's just coaching the new person, and that's going to help them get better. It's going to help them see what they're capable of, and it's just a really important piece of this.
I think it sets the culture of your school. Is like, we're here for each other too. It's not just about you.
No, exactly. And the culture, again, is engineered. Like, it's not. You can't just have this be luck.
No.
You have to have a North Star that you're aiming for every day, and this is a really good way to achieve.
Let's
that.
be clear. We just talked about Kingsway. The culture of Kingsway predominantly is champions.
Right.
Like, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with what your culture is, but they've engineered it a certain way. Champions. And they produce fucking champions.
Yeah. But they also probably have a very different client base. Member base.
And for their new members, I bet you that culture is different as they're trying to build.
I would imagine.
So,
all
right. And a fundamentals class and program. Okay. Let's just talk about that first. Let's not talk about the fundamentals class today or the fundamentals program. We'll talk about that in the next episode. But, like, what do we want that person to experience during their first class?
Well, I think if we're the fundamentals is where people really are going to be learning self-defense stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, like, a lot of the people that we're going to come in, that are going to come in, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for self-defense, looking like I was, looking to feel more secure in their own bodies. So, this is where the framing is very important as a fundamentals instructor. Like, framing the class is really important. Letting people know when we're teaching something that's self-defense oriented, letting them know that, but again, we want it to be predictable. Number one, right? This is why you had made this point about, like, having a curriculum where it's repeating, right? Where people are going to, in a very, in a set cadence, see material repeated, right? This is going to help people feeling like they're actually making progress. What you want to avoid is showing up and just doing whatever you feel like doing that day. That is a recipe for absolute disaster, I think, in general, but specifically in the fundamentals class.
We're going to talk about the overall fundamentals and this topic more in the next episode. But I think what we're trying to get at here is that, like, we want people to sweat, smile, and learn.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on that first day.
Yeah, no,
right?
This is the
SSL. We call it SSL.
Yeah, this was, this was something that when I, again, 18 years ago when I first started teaching, I'll never forget this.
I'm all beat this into us.
Yeah, I'm all did. And everyone should be doing those three things every class.
Every class.
Sweating, smiling, learning. And if one of those isn't happening, you're teaching a bad class.
Right. And on that first day, and again, there's no live training, right? You're not going to war. You're not rolling. You're doing the warm up. You're doing a stand up technique that looks like self defense, right? It's not, in general, it's not wrestling. We do teach how to do a double leg and a single leg in fundamentals, but that's it. You're doing self defense oriented stuff, bear hug, clench, all that kind of stuff. You're doing basic positions on the ground and learning how to move.
Yeah.
Right? That is what their first day should look like in class. We'll get way more in detail into the fundamentals program next episode. Okay? Now, class is done. We just let them walk to the front desk?
No, this is, again, you had said the handoff, right? This should be happening at every stage, right? So this is where if the orientation instructor stayed and was their partner, they can then walk them down to the front desk, right? Or you have, and of course they're going to have questions like, where do I throw this? Where do I put this towel if they had one, right? Where do I, whatever, where do I put the gi that they probably borrowed? And this is where we help them with all of that. Or you can have the instructor do it.
There's a handoff from somebody who did the class with them.
Yeah.
Back to the front desk.
Back to the front desk.
Okay.
Yep.
Preferably the front desk person that welcomed them in the school.
Yeah, ideally, yeah.
That doesn't always happen, but preferably.
Yeah, ideal. Yeah, but it's ideal. Like having this be contiguous is always preferable.
Right.
Preferable.
All right, let's talk about this last and final piece of the first day, which is the sale.
Yeah.
Right. Which again, I think is a big point that you made earlier. We think of it only on the salesperson that the sale gets made or doesn't made. Now, look, obviously they have a massive part in it, but so did the intro class teacher, and so did that fundamentals class. And if any of that was bad, that's why we stress so much on that piece so far, those two pieces so far in this episode. Because if they were bad, this third piece just can't even do it. Like if that person walks down and they look miserable, like they had a terrible time, their nose is bleeding, and you're not trying to sell.
Right.
The first thing you're doing when that handoff comes back is you're figuring out whether or not they had a good time.
Yeah, it's like damage control.
Yeah.
If they didn't.
But you're and if you did everything else right, if it was engineered, like you've been using this word engineered, then they did have a good time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you are going to check to make sure they did.
Yeah, you always have to. Like this is like when we're asking questions for the front, like when the front desk is doing the sale, when everything else has been done correctly, you're trying to really, again, find out how they felt about it.
Right.
Right. And what you're saying is if at any point you detect any discomfort, right. Or anything that like, how was it? It was okay. It was okay. You don't just roll right through that.
Great. You want to sign up?
Yeah. You have to address that. Well, hey, talk to me about it. Right.
Right.
And this all has to be trained and taught, over and over and over and over. But yeah, like the truth is I think the sale, if everything else is done really, really well, this should be like an easy alley-oop.
Right.
But
we do, again, break this down into kind of parts, right? Part one, making sure they had a good time. Ian, how was class?
Yep. So,
great. The instructor was good, etc. Yes?
Yeah. Part one is like, so if it's a brand new person, like again, which isn't, it's always ideal that it's the person who walked them up, right? The rapport gathering has already probably been done.
Right.
Now it's like finding out how the class was, asking, like genuinely getting their insight on how good of a time they had. And most people, if it was done right, will have had a great time. The next piece is where we break it down into essentially the scheduling, right? Showing them our schedule, everything that we offer.
Information giving.
Yeah, information giving.
These are your classes, fundamentals classes. These are the times, right?
I like that.
I think a big piece of it, I've had to say it a lot.
That was good.
A big piece of it, right, is is setting the expectation. I think what we found at Easton, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, is setting the expectation on the price. Like, and I hear so many of our clients have like once a week, twice a week, unlimited, and we just don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? We have unlimited. The problem that you find when people say, oh, it's unlimited, is people go, oh, well, I'm only going to come twice.
Right.
So we set the expectation of them coming twice and letting them know this price is based off twice a week and you can come more.
Yeah, no, it's it's super important to do that for exactly the reason you said. And it lets people know that like, hey, you can be successful. Again, like if you could, like coming twice is great. If you can come twice a week, you're going to succeed.
Right.
And framing it that way.
Right.
If you can come more than that, that's wonderful. And you can live here as far as we're concerned.
When we don't charge you more.
Yeah, we don't charge you more.
This is the way, and to explain that, this is the way you get away from the needing to have a twice a week, one time a week unlimited program. It's all unlimited. You just don't tell them it's unlimited. Because if you start with it's unlimited, the person goes, I'm only coming 3 times a week.
Yep.
Can I get a discount?
Yep.
Right? Where if you say, hey, look, the price is based on twice a week, you can come as much as you want, but get more bang for your buck. You're saying the same thing, way different outcome.
Yeah, no, exactly. Again, it's all a framing thing, and we're setting expectations, like you said.
And then the final piece is the actual offer. And we believe in our offer. It's so good. It's explain the offer, the money back guarantee, all of it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we offer a trial month, right? And this is where, should I get into the details of what the trial month is? Yeah. So, a lot of schools, historically would do the opposite. It's like we charge there's the actual program price, whatever that is. And then there's an enrollment fee. right? So we're using almost, it's a punishment if they don't enroll. If you enroll tonight, we'll give you half off the enrollment fee, right? If you come back 3 days later, well, and now it's going to be the whole enrollment fee.
So their enrollment fee is $250.
Yeah, so they're losing something, right? So there's a punitive aspect to it. Now, and this is sort of old school sales tactic, a lot of pressure, right? And what we don't want pressure, right? That's not really what we're trying to do. We want trust. We want trust and value, right? Which is what we're really trying to show with our trial month. And this really does it. So what we're really going to show them is how there's zero risk for this. There's no risk here. And the value in what we offer is super high. So what we do is for a trial month, it's $99. Right? That's the trial month, right? That is, and it's basically, I don't want to get into all of our pricing.
And it's a 30-day money back guarantee.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was it's almost like half, even
price.
more than half than what our actual programs are. And so look, like when we offer multiple things, and basically the reason we're doing this is because we want people to try everything, to really give this the best shot they can. Most people cannot make a big decision after an hour. Right? So that's not what we expect from you. We want you to do this trial month. You can come in here for a whole month, see how you like it, try everything, right? And then at the end of it, you can decide whether you'd like to stay or leave.
And for us on our end, there's no objection other than you're just not doing it.
Yeah, there's no objection. And it feels really good for our front desk. Like one of the things that's a persistent problem that you'll probably run into is like, look, a lot of the people listening to this are probably owners. You know the value of what you're doing. This has changed your life clearly, but a lot of the people in the beginning, you might also have a lot of people who grew up in a socioeconomic background where what we're asking is a lot of money, and they feel afraid to say the price. That's a real barrier for a lot of people who are new to selling. This removes that. It's like what we're actually offering is a huge benefit to the people that we're offering it to. And it's just it creates even less friction, right? Which is again, what we're trying to do. Selling the trial month is the last part. The other thing is like always going to the trial month, for any objection. It's a really good sort of,
you can't get away from
ripcord.
Hey, I don't know if it's going to fit in my schedule. Great. Let's put it in your schedule. If it doesn't work, you get your money back. Hey, let me talk to my wife. Yeah, great. Let's get you set up. You talk to your wife.
Yep.
Make sure it works with the kids. But there's only one way to figure that out. It's to actually try it. If it doesn't work, you get your money back. So
even the hard objections, like even like ones where people are like, and this feels like the dead stop where no one can overcome it, but the trial month does, right? It's like, oh, I can't afford this. I just can't afford it. I can't afford the $99. Right? Well, here's the response to that. Well, that's very common. Right, especially with the rising cost of everything. But here's the thing: this could be one of those things. It was like this for me, where you do the $99, you don't know how important this is to you yet. And we've had a lot of people here who do the trial month, and by the end of it, realize that this is something they can't live without, and they make the sacrifices they need to do it. Right. So at the very least, you can do the trial month. If you get to the end of it and it doesn't work out, we can talk about
give your money back.
Give your money back. Yeah,
give your money back.
Yeah, again, that's always the final, the final release valve is like you get your money back if you don't, if it doesn't work, and most people just never ask for that,
One, it doesn't happen, and two, I don't know. This is like the new lingo these kids use these days. Man, you get to stand on business. And like what I mean by that is you trust your business and your product so much.
Kids are saying that?
Yeah, it's a term. Yeah, I'm gonna stand on business.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, is that I will give it to you for half the price because I know my shit is that good.
Yeah, it's confidence.
I know. I'm aware. I don't need to try to pressure you into this. While you're doing our trial month, go ahead and check out another school.
Yeah.
See if it's better.
Yeah.
And if you think it's better, please tell me. Tell me it's better, and that's fine. I'll then go get. We'll then go get better.
Yeah.
But it breeds for me as well, I guess, this aura of confidence that we really believe in ourselves. We don't have to use some gimmicky sales tricks of enrollment fees and this and that and to get you to sign up here. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you at half the price. And if you don't like it, we give you your money back.
And it feels really good, like for the people selling, which is what we want. It's like, man, we're like, what you want, again, to engineer is the feeling that if someone walks in here, they took class, they filled out the lead form, they came in, they drove here, they did everything, and then they don't enroll. It's like, well, somewhere along the line, that's a failure of operation. That's not a failure of interest. They were interested, and we didn't succeed.
You did something that told them no.
Yeah, and so that's the thing that we're always trying to avoid. To avoid. So all these things always have to be clicking, and and just to say, like, this is why, like, at Easton, this is continuous, right? Again, like, this is always being trained. It's not perfect. It never is. You're always working towards making sure that this is as close to perfect as it can be, but it's a continuous process. You never get to sit down and be like, oh, cool, my work here is done. The moment you do that, it's not going to work.
So, all right, that's it. That's first day. That's from the time they walk into school until the time they have signed up and have become a member of your school. So again, just a stage of what we call the onboarding process. If you haven't listened to the first episode on this, go back, listen to that, and then tune in next month for the next episode, the final one, the first, day 2 to 90, basically, of this person's journey through jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, whatever it may be. Again, we have all of this for you. Go to Easton.Online. It's under programs. It's called our Accelerator program. If you are a newer school under 100 members, we'll call it, so not necessarily new. If you have fewer than 100 members, we have a dedicated program just for this called Launch that we are offering. We're going to be doing a webinar with Push Press the first week or so of March. So Push Press is a CRM company that we talked about last time that we have partnered with. So yes, join that webinar. You'll see all kinds of information coming out on my Instagram, on Easton.Online's Instagram, on Push Press's Instagram. So yes, this process is so important. And tune in for the next episode. Ian, thanks for doing it, homie.
Thank you.